Hey everybody, Jeppy here, and welcome to Harbor's Agent Lore video. I'm so stoked to share with you guys everything we currently know about Harbor because he's been such an interesting person so far from what I've found.
Conflict is not my first choice, but that choice was made.
We already know a ton about him, especially since we've had around 2 months of hype buildup courtesy of Riot prior to his release with all the lore updates we got. But now that we got all the voice lines that Harbor launched with, we can get a fuller picture of what type of person Harbor is. And to summarize real quick before we get into the video, he is a very outgoing and uplifting person, which is really cool to see.
How's everyone feeling? Good? Because you look great.
It's spooky season, everyone. Well, at least for us that celebrates Halloween. And to get in theme for scary things, I'm going to show you the scariest stats I have using Valorant Tracker, today's sponsor. So let's take a devious look at how Astra is by far my worst agent to play with a 0.89 KD and a terrible 17% win rate. I guess I'm also pretty bad at Neon and Raze too. Now let's look at the maps that terrify me the most. Apparently Ascent is scary for me with a 41% win rate, and thank the Halloween ghost that Split is gone because look how dreadful I was on that map. Let's get some rework, shall we? Let's check out my weapons and scroll all the way down to my knife. I feel like that's pretty on par with Michael Myers' machete, right? Well, I have nowhere near the kill count he has in the movies because I only have 3 kills with a knife. Apparently I got a headshot with a knife, like what? But of course, the scariest thing of all in this Halloween season is seeing an enemy on the other team using the in-game tool with the rank so high that you can only dream of reaching, and of course while getting destroyed by that said person. So trick or treat with me by hitting the link in the description or the pinned comment to download Valorant Tracker for free, of course, and thank you for sponsoring today's video. All right, so let's start things off as we always do with these Agent Lore videos with where and when Harbor was born. Well, we don't know exactly which city Harbor was born in, but according to the short in-game bio Riot gives us, it looks like Harbor was born somewhere along the coast of India, which doesn't really exactly narrow it down for us in all reality. And we also don't really know how old he is or what his birthday is, at least from what I can find, but I think it's kind of safe to assume he's in his young to mid 30s with all the stories he tells us about the various missions he's done throughout his life.
I've done 1,000 missions like this before. Today is no different.
And again, we really don't know much about Harbor's childhood, pretty much at all. Like the only thing I can find that might correlate anything to his childhood is the spray in this contract that shows that he likely enjoyed and played cricket when he was younger. I've never played cricket before, but what I saw, it looks kind of fun. Anyone here play that? But we at least know what Harbor's real name is, and it's quite literally one of the first things we found out about him. I've been really trying to nail the pronunciation of his name, so let me know if I got it right. Varun Batra. Varun Batra. Varun Batra. All right, I guess that's all we're gonna get. The very first hint we got of this was almost 2 months ago when Fade linked the Omega version of Varun Batra to a new power source the Valorant Legion was using, his artifact, and traced the alpha version of Harbor to Realm. Realm is an organization that specializes in seizing black market deals of priceless and ancient historical artifacts. On the surface, they seem like a great organization that is doing something honorable, like making sure history doesn't get lost to criminals. But there are some seeded roots of corruption we're going to talk about in a little bit for Realm. As for Harbor himself, it really does look like that when he was working for Realm, he was doing it out of the goodness of his heart and his love for history and artifacts.
History is full of senseless aggression. Some things don't change.
We'll see some more voice lines of his love for artifacts and history when he joins the protocol and a match starts on a particular map. Pretty much every map in Valorant has a historical figure or building to it, and Harbor makes sure to point it out. Varun Batra was a well-respected member of this counter black market group and was a legend throughout the ranks as well. That all changed when he was betrayed by one of his peers, a man named Captain Greaves. From the looks of it, they were on countless missions together and got a tip of an ancient artifact in Mumbai, India that was going to be smuggled. They arrived, dealt with the criminals guarding it, and Harbor made his way to the artifact, a beautiful wristband with rings set on display in what looks like to be a temple of some sort. Now that's when his long partner revealed the corruption I'm sure he's been plotting for a long time. He turned his gun on Varun and ordered him to hand over the artifact. When he refused, Captain Greaves shot at him, but instinctively, Varun tried to brace for the bullets, but inadvertently summoned a wall of water between the men. which gave him enough time to escape and go on the run. Greaves lied about what happened there and ordered a manhunt on Harbor by the Realm organization he called home for so long. News started breaking out about a person with an artifact that can summon water and bend it to his will, which was heard by the Valorant protocol. Thade used to work as a freelancer for Realm and started looking into it along with Astra and Sky. They visited the sites that a quick battle took place between Harbor and Realm, which finally ended in Delhi, India. Because Harbor sent out a distress call to the Valorant protocol for help earlier, Brimstone arrived with the Vulture and managed to catch him in midair in the nick of time, saving him. He brought him on board and welcomed him to Valorant as Agent 21 Harbor. Now, how does this precious artifact work that Harbor uses? Well, first of all, I need to say that Harbor is not a Radiant. He is a normal human who is using the artifact's powers. Apparently, the bracelet part of the artifact is where the water actually originates from, but the rings he wears on his fingers that came with the wristband is the different abilities he can control with the water. But remember, guys, Harbor is not a Radiant. Unlike Yoru and Astra, who are Radiant, but use their respected artifacts to amplify their powers to the abilities we see them use today. If you guys didn't know by now, Yoru's mask is from an ancient samurai's armor from the Edo period of Japan, which has Radiant embedded in it, while Astra wields an ancient gauntlet with Radiant as well. Harbor has a few interactions with Yoru and Astra about their artifacts. Astra's is more comical.
Hey Astra, any tips for when you get an itch under the gauntlet? This bracelet is killing me.
While Harbor's interaction with Yoru about his artifact seems to kind of rub Harbor the wrong way with how he feels like Yoru disrespected the history of the mask.
So, Yoru, you painted over the priceless samurai mask? Interesting choice.
That's another little thing showing how Harbor loves to maintain history in its pure form as much as possible. But something extremely interesting is unfolding with these three artifacts, the wristband, gauntlet, and mask. How can they be infused with Radiant and exist centuries prior to the first light, which was supposed to be the start of Radiant on our Earth? Well, Asher deciphered a language engraved on Harbor's artifact.
See these engravings carved along the inside?
Yes, ma'am.
It is the language of the Guardians.
The Guardians? So they're real?
Yes.
Now, to be honest, guys, at the time of recording for this video, I don't know really much about the Guardians. I'm assuming they were like an old civilization that either lived on Earth or traveled between universes, like Alpha and Omega Earth, for example. So that's probably where the artifacts got the Radiant powers prior to the first light. Let's talk a little bit more about Harbor and his love for history. You can see him really shine with excitement when he spawns in on a map that has something historical on him. We're going to go through everything he says about spawning in on these maps. I actually didn't know any of these facts Harbor brings up besides the one on Icebox.
The pillars on that domed building are Corinthian, last of the three classical orders. How are you not excited? That old wall by the trees was part of a Casbah once. Still majestic after all this time. Who builds a neoclassical mansion in the middle of an ocean? Obnoxious.
Oh, I know who does, Harbor. Thurston Wolf, the mega rich dude that shook hands with another mega rich dude, Chamber, in a deal that we still don't know much about. Yeah, that guy.
Will you look at those basalt columns? You know those hexagonal shapes form naturally. What is a Red Seal ship from the Tokugawa era doing way up here? Zabardast. That castle beyond the dome dates back to 48 BC. Shame it couldn't be saved. See that older building? How the roof follows the silver ratio? Who said math wasn't beautiful?
So yeah, as you guys can see, he didn't just work for Realm for so many years because it was just another job. He genuinely loved his job so much and doing everything he can to preserve and protect history. All right, everyone, let's check out what Harbor's relationship is like with all the agents on the protocol that we know of so far. But before I do, guys, I want to actually talk about what a possible friendship with Omega Earth's Harbor on the Valorant Legion is. It seems like that he would like to get a chance to really sit down and talk with him as a friend.
When we are at peace, I would meet you again.
Now, this kind of gives me the vibes of like Sova, Raze, and Breach on the VP, where they don't even really want to fight their Omega counterparts, but have to due to the conflict between them. We also get a pretty funny voice line with Harbor joking about his artifact is better than the Omega versions.
Yes, there is another Harbor fighting us. And yes, he also has an artifact. Mine is better.
So like I said earlier in the video, guys, Harbor is a good person. Well, at least what we see on the surface.
Anyone dehydrated? Need a quick rinse? Just checking.
So far, he really has no negative interactions with anyone on the protocol, including Fade. Because remember, guys, Harbor never experienced the blackmailing dossiers of extremely personal problems that Fade revealed to all the other agents on the protocol. So they never started off on the wrong foot, you know, him and Fade. Whereas pretty much all the other agents presumably hated Fade before she joined the protocol. I know I would if someone exposed my darkest secrets out there to the public. He seems to highly respect Fade and recognizes that she is one of the most powerful agents on the VP, with how she can easily and quickly incapacitate multiple people with her nightmare.
Fade, I've dealt with a lot of scary people, and you are definitely my favorite. The enemy Fade thinks we're afraid. She's right, that shit is scary.
He also has a funny voice line, kinda taking a jab at goth kids. Any goth people watching the video here?
This is what happens when the goth kid gets nightmare powers.
So far, it looks like that Phoenix and Harbor are going to be great friends on the Valorant protocol, which is kind of odd because, you know, the fire and water don't exactly play nice together. Just like all the other agents, Harbor makes fun of Phoenix for being confident and reckless.
Phoenix, don't run in and get yourself shot, unless that's the plan. Phoenix, you're supposed to be all talk. What the hell happened?
But he also has a few voice lines where he calls him buddy, and we can see the start of what looks like a good friendship happening.
Arey yaar, Phoenix. Let's team up and boil these clowns.
Another agent that I'm sure Harbor is extremely grateful for is Sky. She recovered his bike that fell off the building as he made that dramatic leap into the air for Brimstone to catch him in the Harbor reveal trailer. It does look like that Harbor likes to make fun of Sky as well, but of course in a friendly way, never a like rude or, you know, mean way.
Score one for the world's most dangerous tree hugger.
Let's go through a couple more voice lines of Harbor's interactions with other agents.
Breach, your prosthetics are waterproof, right? Asking for a friend. There's a chamber over there. Guy can't go 3 steps without bringing all his fancy guns. KO, you've got a lot of heart. A metaphorical heart. Unless, do you have a real heart? Stay sharp. You don't get a second chance in combat. Unless Sage is involved. Sure, their Viper can put up a big green wall, but you know mine's prettier.
I do think though that Astra and Harbor are going to be working really close together. They both share something in common with wielding artifacts built by the Guardians and are both really eager to find the City of Flowers, which was also built by the Guardians over on Omega Earth. It's being hinted at greatly that the next map coming to Valorant is going to take place on Omega Earth at the Flower City there. And something tells me Astra and Harbor are going to be the ones to lead the way on the expedition to find it and use Harbor's artifact to unlock the lock there.
At Realm, I studied the City of Flowers. Even tracked it down with a map we pulled out of the Gulf of Combat. When I got there, well, it wasn't pretty.
Ruined.
Was decimated, sabotaged. I couldn't even get close.
Sabotaged by who?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Destroyed on Alpha. What about Omega? Maybe it's still there.
Maybe.
All right, everyone. Well, I'm pretty sure we're all caught up with the main parts about Harbor's lore. Of course, Harbor just got released, so more information and events he'll take part in are yet to happen. But if you want to stay up to date, make sure to subscribe to the channel with the notifications because I always make new lore videos about any updates that comes out about Valorant. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Now, with all that being said, Jeppy out.